long as hair, don't like your style. Don't need no leather jacket, we're doing fucking fine. We got our baggy t-shirts, we dread our hair. Our wallet chains are hanging, cause we don't fucking care. This ain't no fucking disco, this ain't no fucking glam. This is the fucking new wave, let's see your fucking hands. Cause this is new metal, new metal, new metal, new fucking metal.
Thanks for tuning into Heavy, where we bring you the latest interviews with local, national and international artists. Today's victim is...
Hey, what's up? This is Samy Elbanna from Lost Society. We got our 5th record, If the Sky Came Down, coming out September 30th. Go check it out right now.
Beautiful. Sammy, thanks for joining us tonight, mate.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's great to be here.
My pleasure, bro. So as you mentioned, Lost Society, you're preparing to release your latest album, If the Sky Came Down, on September 30. So tell us a bit about the album from a musical point of view and what you were going for with it.
Well, for a music point of view, Lost Society has always been a band that we're not ashamed to kind of carry our influences on our sleeves very heavily. And, when we started the band, our influences obviously lie very heavily with bands like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Children of Bodom, Megadeath, stuff like that. But as the years have gone by, obviously, I feel like our musical horizons have opened a lot. And all of us are like, more than anything, we're lovers of music. And the only genres that we like is kind of music that we enjoy and music that we don't enjoy. And for us, If the Sky Came Down is a very kind of accurate representation of what we listen to and what we observe in the world in 2022. So, you have your classic kind of Lost Society, kind of fast, adrenaline soaked kind of heavy metal music, but you also, on the other hand, you have the super melodic side, you have the slower songs, you got the faster songs and everything in between. So honestly, it's kind of like, I'd say If the Sky Came Down is kind of like it's the best of all worlds of Lost Society in 2022.
Yeah, I had a mate here before actually that was listening when I was playing your stuff through, and he said that you got a lot of Chester Bennington in your voice, which was a big compliment.
I honestly, every time I've heard that, I've just said thank you, because honestly, to me, that's a massive thing, because Chester obviously was one of the greatest vocalists in history of this music genre, and honestly, all genres for that matter. So honestly, anytime someone has said that, I take it as a massive compliment. So thank you.
Welcome. And the press release refers to the music as catchy modern metal. Now, I'm not one to sort of put labels on music. I don't really like it, but what do you define modern metal as?
Honestly, I'm the same with you. And when we were writing the whole press release and getting this whole package ready, I feel like saying that Lost Society is a modern metal band is probably the most accurate and the closest thing to what we're doing, because in my eyes, we're a metal band, pure and simple. We're a metal band, and anything beyond that is just up to the listener. But with the modern side, I would say that it's just because we kind of take so many elements from a lot of modern kind of rock things, from modern pop, from modern everything. So I'd say that's where we get the name, because I feel like in some sense anyway, there's a lot of people who need kind of some sort of label so they know in some way what they're getting into. I myself, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'd say that the whole modern metal thing is pretty close to what we're doing anyway.
Yeah. And the press release also says that you're about to unleash the most ambitious, versatile and innovative record of your career. Do you agree with that statement?
100%. 100%. And that goes back to also what I was saying earlier, because, as I said, our musical influences lie heavily with the classic metal bands. But if you go through any of our playlists, what we actually listen to, for example, nowadays, it would be a very vast variety of everything. You'd go from your Alice Coopers to your Lady Gagas to your Nine Inch Nails to your Pendulums and everything in between. And honestly, I feel like with this record, we finally found ourselves in a place where we ditched the last kind of drops of, are we allowed to do that? Can we do that? Is someone going to be pissed off? It's like, because in the end of the day, I feel like when you do your own art and when you're bringing your art to life, I don't think there's any point of starting to overthink anything else but the fact if you like it yourself and if you love the music yourself. I think that's the most important thing. And, we found ourselves in a place where when we pick up a guitar, we might get something super melodic. Then we're like, well, hey, should we put some clean vocals onto that? Should we do a killer melody, a big chorus or something? It's like, of course we will. If it sounds good, if it serves the song, I think you should be able to do whatever you want with your own music, because in the end of the day, it is a representation of us as human beings. And, in 20 years or 30 years, when I want to listen back to all of our records, I want to be like, oh, yeah, we took those risks and they paid off. Sometimes they won't, but who cares? In the end of the day, life's about trial and error. And with this record, I feel like we went through all of those opportunities and possibilities and we made them work. And everything you hear on this record is a product of working super hard and making everything work. Honestly, the arrangements and everything, we really paid attention to it this time around.
So to date, you've released the songs 112 or 112, I'm not sure how to say that, Stitches and What Have I Done. So are they a good sonic representation of the album as a whole?
You know what? I think as far as it's always super hard kind of choosing a song or songs that will accurately kind of give the whole theme of the record. But I feel like especially 112 was the song that since we wrote it, we were like, you know what, this is the first song that people have to hear, because it does feature that kind of classic Lost Society energy on it. And on the other hand, it also has that really big and catchy chorus to it. It has the solos, it has the growling, the clean vocals. So it is kind of like a pretty accurate representation as far as that goes. And with Stitches and What Have I Done, I feel like it perfectly continues the story that 112 started out. And it does it probably gives more of even a lyrical kind of accuracy to what the whole record is talking about. And until now, seeing the reactions from people, it really seems like we chose well. But on the other hand, I love the fact that there's so many even more diverse things that's going to be happening on the full record. So I feel like people who already think they know exactly what's going to be happening are going to be shocked in a good way.
Wicked. So where does the title If the Sky Came Down come from, and what significance does it have?
Well, the whole record it's pretty much the most personal record that I've ever been a part of making, because basically, in 2021, in the beginning of the year, I just found myself in a place I didn't think would be humanly even possible. And I kind of decided that for the last thing I do is basically going to be write this album. And after that, I literally did not see a future for myself. And If the Sky Came Down is pretty much talking about all of that, because I feel like every single human being at one point or another in their lives, they will face a situation where someone or a situation that they always felt is going to be around them and is always there as a kind of safe place will just suddenly disappear or collapse from around them. And you got to be prepared for something like that. For myself, I was not prepared for when it happened, and everything just seemed to go down at the same time. So If the Sky Came Down is basically one person's story of that happening, but told in a very universal way, because what I want to bring across with this, what I'm talking about and what I'm singing about, isn't the fact that I'm just taking the last grips of hope from people away, but I want to serve as a living example that no matter how dark the place is that you find yourself from, there's always a way of getting up if you just continue fighting.
Mm-hmm. So you hear musicians all the time say what a cathartic experience it is writing something so deeply personal, which I can understand how it would be in the long run. But in those initial stages, like putting those personal feelings down on paper, is that difficult?
You know what? I thought it would be, but I think it's a mixture of the fact that I was just in such a dark and deep place that it felt so natural when everything started pouring out, because, music for me and for everyone in this band has always been our outlet to get everything out. And I feel like we've been practicing for the last 12 years by, writing music and listening to music and sensing live music and performing. So I feel like after 12 years, we were in such a good place, and I was in such a right place to finally be able to just pour out everything onto paper. And, now that we listen back to the record, I often go, wow, like that's some pretty fucking heavy stuff. And at the moment, I didn't feel like it was anything more abnormal than what I was just feeling inside of my head. So, for me, it's like, it's the ultimate kind of, it's like the pinnacle of being an artist when you're able to pour out something so traumatic and something so dark into your own art form.
And the band's tossed up the term a fair bit about the light and shade musically on this album. Like, And I know on the surface that's pretty easy to understand, but what does it actually mean having that light and shade in your music?
Well, I mean, it's all about, because in my head, you know, I mean, life's all about the dynamics of everything. You have your ups and you have your downs. And I feel like when I'm listening to an album which has a story, you know, you don't necessarily always have to have a story in a record, but if you have something that is deeply rooted into some experience that you've had, I like to hear the ups and downs also. And for me, that's important that in these 10 songs, you have like, because you have the story that obviously you'll be able to read from the lyrics, but I want you to musically, like sonically feel the ups and downs. You got to have the shade and you got to have the light. And for me, this record, you know, it goes through all of those different emotions. It goes through all of those different dynamics. And I think it's a really kind of, it's a good package. And more than anything, it also is like, it's one Lost Society record. It's like, I feel like you can also kind of quickly have songs that are so different from one another that you lose sight of what it's actually about. But for me and for this record, you still know that it's a Lost Society album from start to finish.
So the album comes out on September 30th, mate. What have you got planned after that? You got any shows planned?
Absolutely. We're actually, next week, we're going to be starting almost 5 weeks around Europe and UK with our friends in Blind Channel from Finland also. And the last 2 shows, we're going to actually have the record out, which is going to be super cool. And with that momentum, we're coming back to Finland and we're doing the most extensive Finnish tour that we've ever done. It's going to be 11 dates around the country. And then for the rest of the year, we're going to chill out a bit. And next year, we're just going to be on the road as much as possible. I already told my management and our agencies just to keep us on the road as much as possible, because we've already seen the insides of our houses and they're not anything special. So.
And then any plans to come on over this side of the world?
And I hope so. I hope so, because it's been something that has been it's been on the plans and on the looks for the last 12 years. So honestly, I can't give anything concrete yet, but all I can say is that I understand and I appreciate so much that we have a fan base going on all around there, and we want to finally come and see you all.
Beautiful, Sammy. Well, thanks for the time tonight, mate. As I said earlier, this is the first I've heard of Lost Society, this interview, and you've got yourself a major fan now, boys. You're fucking great music, brothers. So hopefully we do see you over here.
Amazing. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
No worries, brother. Good luck with the album, bro.
Thank you so much. All the best, man. Cheers.